All right, we got a great Monday. I'm happy to be here after a wonderful weekend. And we've got Lissette here. We had a great question come up last week. I love the questions, man. By the way, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, and you've got questions, you can ask them live while you're watching. But if you've got a topic you want us to bring up, we get questions all the time, right? Lissette and I are in it. So what we're thinking about is not what you guys are thinking about. We want to make sure we're answering your questions. So bring them on. You can put them in a comment. You can DM either one of us, and we'll bring a show. So this was one of the questions that was asked. Joe, do I need or would it help me to get an appraisal done before I put my house on the market? Now I know what my home is worth, right? I thought that was a very interesting question. Lissette, before I answer, I'm going to let you answer that question. What do you think?
It depends on a few factors. Is your home very similar to the surrounding homes around you? If that's the case, get with your agent. A CMA could probably answer all your pricing questions, and you wouldn't have to pay $500-$600 for an appraisal. Now, if your home has features that are different than the rest of the homes in your neighborhood, your home is unique. If pricing is a little bit all over the place and you just don't know where you would fall, then yeah, an appraisal might be the best option just to get started and get an idea of where you should be pricing your home.
Put this up for anybody who doesn't know. CMA is comparative market analysis, right? So when you pay an appraiser has gone to whatever they call appraising school, I don't know what they call it, and they get a license to be able to explain to you in very specific state standard ways what your home is worth, right? When you get an agent in, we're doing very similar things. The difference is we're not licensed. We're experienced. We're licensed in real estate. It's just different, right? And you're going to use legally, you're going to use appraisals for different situations, right? Because it's a third-party company who's being paid a flat fee, not a commission. And so they don't care what you sell your house for. Either way, I get my $700 as an appraiser, so I don't really care what your house sells for. Here's what I think it's worth, and here are the comps just to show it, right? They're going to go really in depth if they do a good job, and they're going to give you pluses and minuses. So maybe you got carpet in the bedrooms and another home has tile. They're going to say, okay, per room, that's $1,750 they see on average, or whatever their number is. And they're going to add for 3 rooms that have carpet instead of tile, or subtract it, whatever it is. And they're going to do that for everything. Maybe a metal roof is being compared to a shingled roof. What's the difference? It's this amount. Great. They're going to add or subtract that. They're going to go through and they're going to do that. In my opinion, a top 10% agent is going to be doing exactly the same thing. And they're going to be looking at that, and they should be able to not just give you a number, but guys, when you get an agent to come in, if you don't know, are they a top 10% agent? Are they just my friend? Is it someone I saw on Facebook, but man, are they really that good? They should be able to communicate to you so clearly why your home is worth whatever it is that they're saying it's worth, that even you, not as an expert in real estate, should be able to say, that makes complete sense. Everything Lissette just told me makes complete sense the way she explained it, because if Lissette understands it well enough to where she's spot on, she should easily be able to communicate it, right? So with that understanding in my mind, agents are going to get paid a commission to sell your house. You're probably going to have an agent anyway, right? Why not use the agent to tell you what it's worth instead of an appraiser? Now, there are situations where, I'm trying to think of a couple, where it's a really unique property. So getting a very good appraisal on it is going to be tough. So I'll give you a couple examples. In Port St. Lucie, everything is 0.23 acres. Every single lot is 85 by 125 or whatever. It's like every doggone lot. So if you find something that's 2 acres, very unique. How do you value that when there's not a lot of comps, right? There might not be any comps. And what if you've got a property that's got a pond on it? How much is that worth? I don't know. It's a private pond. What's that worth? What if I've got an outbuilding that's a 4,000 square foot outbuilding? What's that worth? There aren't a lot of comps for these things. So it becomes really challenging. Waterfront. Okay, how much is waterfront worth? Is it a value by the frontage? Is it by the specific lake or river it's on? What if I've got 100 feet of frontage versus 200 feet of frontage? Is it now worth double because of the frontage? How does that work? All of these things are a little bit different. While it's more challenging, an agent can still do that. If an agent can't do it, I would say you need a better agent. Now, guys, there are things I'm really good at, and there are things I'm not that good at when it comes to real estate, right? So if you were to come to me, I haven't done a lot of $5 million commercial deals, right? So if you bring me a $5 million commercial deal, I'm not going to be as good at that as some of my buddies in commercial that I'm probably going to refer you to. But that agent who's really good at $5 million commercial is going to be just as good at giving you an comparative market analysis as an appraiser is at giving you an appraisal. They're looking at the same things. They're doing the same math. Now, an appraiser is going to disagree with me. I guarantee it, because I went to school. But in all honesty, if I've been selling something, I've been selling a lot of real estate for a lot of years. And I don't just look at the numbers. I'm having the discussions with the buyers and the sellers to see why they're getting to those numbers. So a market shift, I'm not just looking at the data. I kind of understand the mentality of the people that are thinking about, as buyers and sellers, what it is they want to do. So if you've got a good, strong agent, a top 10% agent, I personally don't know why you would do that. But let me give you a couple examples where it would make sense. I had a couple one time, I sold their property. And they came to me maybe 6 months later and said, Joe, we would like you to come in and tell us what our property's worth. I'm going to sell it to my aunt, and I want to make sure it's fair. And I said, well, I'm not an appraiser. And if I were to give you this, there's, when I'm building a price, I'm building that price based on a couple different things. It has something to do with the market. It has a lot to do with the comps. It has to do with your motivation. It has to do with where are rates at right now. It has to do with a lot of things. You might want to get an appraisal. And the reason you might want to get an appraisal is because that person is licensed to give an appraisal. I'm not. You might, like, if you're selling something, this could go to court, right? You want to have a legal document that you can show that states what it is. That's a case where I would get an appraisal. If you are going to do something between two people and you don't know what the value is and you're not using a real estate agent, I would absolutely use one. But if you've got an agent, you've got one of two things going on. Either you got a top 10% agent and they should be able to give you a solid number, or you don't have a top 10% agent who's not that comfortable in valuing your property. And then I would just get a different agent, honestly. What do you think of that, Lissette?
No, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we do this every day in and out. We run the numbers on the property. So if you have an agent that's familiar with your community, with your area, their pricing is going to be very, very comparable to that appraisal. But now, one thing also you want to keep in mind, even if you do go out and pay for that appraisal, when you put your property under contract, the buyer has financing.
Yeah.
That appraisal that they're required to get by the lender could be very different than the one that you got. So you still may have a little bit of a difference in pricing.
And I've had people who think that, okay, if I go get an appraisal right now, I know that if I get an offer, it's appraised. We already got the appraisal done. That's not the case, right? That lender doesn't give a damn about that appraisal. They want a new appraisal done by whatever company they pick, because they don't know. Was that your cousin who did that appraisal? They have no idea, so they don't care about your appraisal. So a lender is never going to use that. You find a cash buyer, I mean, you can use whatever you want. You know, as long as the buyer buys into it, you can tell them whatever you want. But when it comes to lending, the lender is purposely forcing an appraisal to be done to protect them. They're not in the business of real estate. They're in the business of lending out money and making interest on that money. So they're depending upon that appraisal as a third party who makes a flat rate, not a commission, to tell everybody involved what it's worth. So in my opinion, there are situations where I'd want to get one done first. There's certainly situations where I would do one even if I wasn't selling. But if you've got a good, strong agent, I don't know that I would ever invest in an appraisal. If I ever got to the point where I didn't trust the agent's knowledge of my value, my solution wouldn't be appraisal. My solution would be go hire Lissette. I mean, that would be my, I'd find a better agent.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. So any other additions you'd give to that, Lissette? I think I've kind of exhausted everything.
No, definitely. And going back to that point, if you're not confident that number, that your agent is giving you, there's nothing wrong with interviewing other agents and understand why they're giving you that number. Maybe the lower number is the correct number, not the higher number. You know, a lot of agents will throw out numbers out there to, you know, entice the seller and grab that listing, but understand how they're coming up with these calculations. Look at past sales and understand how those properties are comparable or are not comparable, and that you'll get a better understanding of the pricing then.
That's a good point. And for those of you that don't understand this, because sometimes I forget what, you know, we know and what the public knows. If you get an agent to come in and give you a market analysis, 99% of them are going to do it for free. They want to do it. That's their end. I offer to people all the time, my friends, my family, hey, you want me to come tell you? Oh, Joe, don't tell me. I don't know if I'm going to sell yet. I don't want to waste your time. The way an agent looks at it, or at least the way I look at it is, I don't care if you sell with me. I know if I do 10 of them, I'm going to get 2, 3, 4, 5 listings. I don't know which, and I don't care which, but I can help 10 people, and somebody's going to do business with me. It doesn't matter who it is. I also just love my friends and family, and I want you to be educated in whatever decisions you're about to make, right? Whether you work with me or not. So guys, it's not tough at all to get an agent that you trust to come in and do a market analysis. And in all honesty, a really challenging market analysis takes 30 to 45 minutes. A really, I don't want to say really easy, a normal, just typical 2,000 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, maybe a pool, maybe not a pool, like whatever. Pretty much anything in the center of Port St. Lucie that doesn't have acreage, it's going to take 15, 20 minutes to look up those comps, do the math and everything else, get it all put together so it makes sense to the seller. It's not really a big ask. Make sure you're educated, ask for help, and that's it's that simple, honestly. So guys, again, I'm going to end with this. If you got any questions or anything you want to see in another video, go put it in the remarks, send it in a DM to either one of us, and we're more than happy to make a future video for you. Lissette, I appreciate you joining me, my friend.
Have a great day, guys. Bye, Joe.